Hello, dear friends, and welcome to another episode of Soul Vibes, which is for me, Alexis Sersha. A lot of joy to talk about, to participate in, to talk about, to co-create with you, because we just talk about, all of the things of the soul infused life, of what it feels like, and all of the different little challenges that you might encounter in everyday life. And there's always something new happening. There are always some new experiences to sort of integrate, to participate in, to make sense of in a way that, like we can then utilize all of those things that the soul keeps bringing into our lives. Oh, and so let us come into this space and let us feel the energies that are present, for it is those that are more important than words. Sometimes I have a giggle because people sometimes they have a lot of questions and they have a lot of thoughts and they think so much about this relationship with the soul, with their own soul, when in reality not that many thoughts are really necessary. You could have a wonderful, even better relationship with your soul if you had no thoughts at all. And so we feel the energies, and we feel how the energies within us, when we come into this safe space, when we co-create this safe space, because we've given an intent, we have chosen. And so together we create this safe space, and also we create the opportunity to, within this group, to transform, to transmute, to move energies that are stuck, patterns that are stuck, that perhaps are making, preventing us from feeling that presence, feeling the deliciousness of the soul. And so we come into this space. Feel yourself wherever you are. Feel how safe you feel within yourself. Feel how that space, that safe space that you've been creating, that you've been cultivating, has grown, and how easy it is now for you to go there, to choose that space and to be in that space. For this truly is a mark of a creator, a mark of a master, when you can choose the spaces that you wish to inhabit. And not only that this is a mark of a master, it's actually what you are doing here. You are learning, you are practicing as a human part of your soul self. You are practicing these abilities. You are allowing the master self to form, to develop in your life. For the master self, it's a culmination of your soul's lifetimes. It's all of the experiences that have made you grow up, so to speak, that have made you mature. And within all of these abilities that you have practiced as a soul, having parts of yourself as human on earth, in physical reality, that enable you to so quickly now to transform, to transmute, to shift, to change the spaces. And this is not something that it is only for now, that you'll be doing now. For these are the capabilities and the abilities and the necessary skills for you to have in the new reality of yourself. For you continually choose new potentials. You continually choose something new, and then you have to know how to dismantle, so to speak, how to melt, how to unpattern the potential that you've just lived. and you choose to let it go. And so this is not something that you just are doing once, you see, because each one of you, each one of us, including Alexis, each one has been so deeply engaged in transmuting and transforming all the things that have bound you, that have limited you, all the things that have kept you so stuck in the limited view of yourself, in the separated view of yourself. And within that, were there not hells? Hell, as in what Christianity talks about. You've already lived hell. You know hell. It is that when you are consumed by your own, perhaps it's not the right word, but we don't have another one, darkness, your own negative, so to speak, patterns within which you couldn't escape, your negative views of yourself, your thoughts of yourself as worthless, perhaps not worth love, attention, the quality, all the good qualities that you so desired and so wished. Was that not hell? And for some, it is only recently that you've been able to really make that decisive move from one space like that into another. For within, is it not the hell when you thought that you were stuck in a certain reality, powerless to change, powerless to step out? And yet all of that was the result really of your own internal life, of your own internal choices that you have unconsciously made, of your own internal choices that you continue to make, and all of the seduction of those kind of spaces that continually have pulled you in, and not being able to believe that truly you are the creator, that truly you have the ability, you have the power to step into a new reality, meaning that this ability that all of a sudden, let's say, you have completely different beliefs about yourself. For example, let's say if you have spent a lot of time thinking of yourself as worthless, thinking of considering yourself not worthy of love, unlovable, rejected, all of these things, then that huge leap from that space into the space where you feel love, where you feel cherishment of yourself, where you feel honoring of yourself, it's a huge leap, is it not? But the incredible thing is that once you do it once, then you can reuse those. You can perhaps look at what you've done that worked, and you reuse those skills, those abilities for perhaps another jump in a different way from one reality into another. And so that you really truly embody and make real you as a creator, you as a master in this way, one that can at will, at your desire, choose any realities, any inner spaces of yourself, that you can create the worlds that you want. And so as each one of you know, that is not an overnight process. You've been working on this for a long time, because, for example, some of the things that need to change within that is you then being able to live in these kind of spaces that we can call paradise, in a paradise that, of course, then, like creates your own life within that. But you then need to be able to also live within the community, within your community of your friends, your loved ones, your family that perhaps are making different choices. And I know some of you are saying, yes, you do speak a lot about that. We've spoken a lot about that. But have you actually really let go of those patterns that are holding you entrapped in this way by what you considered love, by the empathy that was making you trapped, because you felt that that being kind, that being loving to your loved ones is to be with them, is to let go of your dreams, to let go of your abilities as a conscious creator, is to let go of your paradise, inner paradise that is within your grasp, is within your hands, is within your reality now to manifest. And so all of those seductive bits and pieces of whether it's a mass consciousness or whether it's the patterns, the habits, as each one of you have noticed, they've really been up in your face before the heavens cross, before the huge change. So I ask you, Michael, ask you, each one of you, are you ready? Are you ready really to be letting go of all of these strings that you have bound yourself with to the old reality? Are you ready to really fly? All of the things that we talk about, and others do as well, all the time, in all of our transmissions and gatherings and co-creations in this way, have to do with that. Because as you know, there are so many nuances and so many bits and pieces of this letting go, of this truly then embracing, owning and living the new. We've been working on this for years now, have we not? And it is rightly so, because as you know, if you were to jump into the new reality just in a few seconds, you would have been an ascended master. You would have not been a master on earth anymore. And that is what we've taken so many steps, and we've looked at everything from all the different angles, just so that you can really be assured within yourself that you can really manage yourself in this way, where you are then able to choose and earn and materialize what you choose, and not just hope or wish that things would happen, whatever that you choose, because that is what has often been the case, has it not? That you would choose something and then it wouldn't happen. And so little by little, when things like this would continue to happen, you perhaps lost hope, lost faith, gave up. And yet even that is actually part of this journey, for you also are, of course, allowing your greater part of yourself, not as in more important or more divine or higher or anything, meaning the bigger expansive part of yourself, to be present here consciously with you. And so when you were playing in this space, you know that a lot of different parts of yourself have different desires, have different wishes, have different ideas of what needs to be created. And so perhaps up until now, things that haven't worked out really perhaps were those old dreams, were the ideas of the mind, were things that were not real you. For remember that this is about you becoming you, real you, the raw you, the wild you, the true you. and not the idea that the mass consciousness has presented to you as who you should be. And this too is one of those really deeply ingrained patterns that takes a while to actually come to the bottom of. It takes a while to release in fullness. You keep coming to it, and you keep coming to it, and you release and you release. And sometimes you yell out in frustration, when am I gonna? I thought I've released that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last week, and yet still it is here, but it is here again in a different nuance. For things continually tug on you if you still have strings attached to yourself in a relationship to that. It is not like a punishment. It is not some kind of cosmic law or anything. It is just simply the physics. It is simply the physics that, it's like if you were to tie yourself, let's say if you happen to sit down on a chair and it was someone made a joke on you and it was filled with super glue, and you were trying to then unglue yourself. It is not that okay, maybe the initial joke was not from a pleasant person, but it is just the physics that until you undo all the bits of yourself from, unglue all the bits of yourself, you are not unglued. So a lot of these things that you're dealing with, that you're having to let go, that you're having to integrate, very often get charged with emotional energy and with judgments and with certain ideas. Like when something doesn't work out, you perhaps then quickly judge yourself. Oh, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I haven't practiced enough, maybe I haven't allowed enough. But some of the things are just simply physics, how things work. You see, it's like it's not that you have to then judge yourself, because then that judgment actually instead of ungluing you, it kind of starts gluing you back to that chair of the old, you see. So when you notice that you are putting emotional charges on things, it is really important now to let those melt away, to just be very matter of fact with things, because this will then assist you in your ability to let things go very quickly. For in the new reality, those emotional charges, they don't really have that much place in the scheme of things anymore. For remember, the emotions stem from the mind, and the mind is no longer the one that rules. It is but a part that is serving you, the master, you, the soul. And so its creation, the mind's creation, the emotion, which are kind of like an imitation of feelings, the real feelings. The emotions in that way will not really have and do not have such a huge space within the reality. And so all of these things are materials with which you create your reality. And so you are just becoming very, very clear what is useful in the new, what is not, what is of the old. And you see, all of these things, you are the one, each one of you are the one that needs clarity within each of these components, because you are the one that is creating your reality from the inside out. And so unless you become very familiar with each, unless you become very discerning with each thing, unless you become very clear about each of these things, you will not be able to really create with clarity as a master, with with all of your abilities, with everything that is at your disposal, and the most important thing, with whatever it is that you want to create, meaning, whatever the potential that you choose. And so play with this, practice this, allow clarity. And so let's feel into this now. Let's choose. Let's breathe with this and choose more clarity. Let's choose and let the ability to really perceive bits that are still binding you, bits that are still keeping you entrapped, bits that are still keep pulling you back to the old. Because once you truly do experience that transformation, that change, that ability where you've moved from one to the other, once you've really experienced that, you have to then keep ongoingly practice that, because otherwise, because you are here on earth, you can keep being pulled back into the old, back into what was, back into the old habitual reality, back into suffering, back into the painful things of the past, of the spaces where you used to live, even though those spaces truly no longer exist, because once you've released them one time, they're gone. But because you are that creator, you can keep recreating them over and over and over again. If you're not careful, if you're not conscious, if you are not clear with what's what in your reality. And so here we are, not long, 1 month still to go before those big realignments, before the veil becomes clearer, before those huge changes happen. But it is up to each one of you to really realize that for yourself, to feel it, to know it, to experience it, to play with this space. And unless you yourself don't experience that, then it will not be your reality. And that is why we're kind of repeating so much of what we've already spoken about many, many times. We're just pointing out all these last vestiges of the old that are still sticking to you. Because remember, like, perhaps each one of you maybe thinks that, okay, is this whole life going to be just always about releasing, owning, about all of this, letting go of the old? And we've been doing it and doing it and doing it for such a long time. When will there be a change? When will there be a change where something new, really new, where happens, where I perceive the new, where I don't have to continually just be releasing and learning and all of this kind of stuff? And dear friends, this is just right in front of you now, for you to own, for you to experience. And for some are already living in that space. Some are already in that space where they are enjoying life, where all of those old ideas of, not just old ideas of things, but the old jobs, the old work, the old reasons, of why you even incarnated, they're now gone, because the goal, so to speak, has been achieved. And now what happens after? You enjoy your life, you live your life, you love, you experience, you laugh, you play, you do all of those things that perhaps in the past you just dreamed of and were putting off, because always it seems like in this lifetime that you've had to always put off a lot of things that you wanted to do, that you desired, because your this transformation was always more important, was always at the forefront, was always something that you felt like you needed to really do, and it had to be done. And so when we said before why some of the things haven't manifested for you, because you look at some of those people that you call normal as meaning non-awakened, and you see that what is often the case is that they actually seem to have created more of their dreams than you ever did. And yet we're telling you that you're the awake one, you're the master. So how can that be? And that was because all of those things were a priority for you before. It was always a priority to clear. It was always a priority to transform. It was always a priority to go through that process of being a caterpillar and now transmute into a butterfly. And that is why you've had to put so many things on the sideline. You've had to sacrifice so many things. You've had to let go and not participate in so many things, because whenever you tried, it felt like those things were pulled away from you, and they were by the master self, by your soul self, by this grander part of you, because it knew the whole time. It saw the overview the whole time, and so it kept on putting in front of you, the human, things that needed to be done, so that you are here. And here we are we not, in this most monumental year, with huge changes, with huge how can I say, with huge applications, with huge long-reaching consequences that are happening within each one of you. And so if you have felt yourself pulled deep on the inside of yourself, if you have felt yourself pulled into the depths that perhaps you never have even visited, it is for this reason. And this too it's actually a joy. This is a joy to see, to experience yourself in such incredible ways, to experience yourself just how amazing you are, with your nuances of feeling, with all of the different parts that perhaps you only got to know, you read in books or watched in movies or fairy tales. You are your own hero. You are on a hero's journey, and all these feelings that come with that, you now are feeling them. All these feelings that are between the worlds, between this world and that world, that never used to be accessible to you as your own, that you used to project onto perhaps the fairy tales and the movies and the other people. Now you're feeling them, and they are real. Perhaps some you only dreamt of at night in your dreams, and now they're available to you during the day. You can access them, feel them, allow them. Whenever you get all of the feelings of mystery, of magic, of you being shape-shifting and being able to walk between the worlds, when all these feelings visit you, stop and notice and cherish and honor them so that they can grow, so that they can become more real, so that they can become clearer. Allow yourself to feel the presence of your master. A lot is being said and talked about that, but allow it to now feel very real, very physical, very tangible, so that so that this part of you has this great effect on your life, on your everyday experiences, on what you can choose and what you can see and what you can feel and what you can participate in. So you are asked to really allow things that perhaps you dreamed about, but also so many things that are new, that you have never felt before, that you have never experienced before. For some, that could be that all of a sudden you start seeing things on the side from your eyes. Perhaps initially they just look like shadows, or perhaps you feel like you're not alone in the room, because you are now truly starting to perceive and sense and experience other worlds. And it may surprise you, and it may at times scare you, just how different your reality now is becoming. Not only that, so much is changing in the world around you with humanity. For example, just the impact that AI is having and is making on the changes of society. All of these things are now changing so quickly, and you are on the up curve again of this huge change with regards to even just other people that are not awakened to your society. And so you are required to really adapt to the new very quickly, to change, to shape shift, to alchemize, to transform, to let go, to own. All of these things you're asked to do very, very quickly. And you will find, and you are finding, that how incredibly speedy the change can really be, how huge the shifts of energy are really now possible, how quickly you can transform and move from one to the other, how sometimes when you wake up in the morning you don't recognize yourself anymore, and you wonder, is this still me? And this is all quite normal, for you are now touching and allowing and owning all these different parts of yourself that are living in different realities. You are really experiencing now, kind of like the image would be as if you've unfocused. Let's say you look at yourself in one of those mirrors, and that gives you the depth, and you see many of you, like into the depth, into the distance. You see a lot of yourself, not just one face but many. So this is kind of like this new experience, except for that in a mirror, even though you see many of yourself in this reality now, that you see many of yourself, you all look the same. But in this reality, you don't look the same. The faces that you are able to perceive of yourself are quite different. They do feel similar. They are always still you. And yet, they are different, for they have their own life. They may not even have a body very often. For we're not just talking here about your past lives or the future lives. We're talking about your multidimensional self. And so be prepared for these kind of things. Don't freak out when it happens. Don't freak out when you may be driving or walking, and all of a sudden the scenery just shifts and changes, and you think where have I, what happened, where am I? It can be a little bit disorienting. And what is the main thing with all of these things is that you come back to the center, to the core of yourself, that I am, the self-love, the application of it, the practice of it, the cultivation of it. So these things will pull you through all of the new, because within these new realities, there is so much going on, and you have the ability to perceive so much that, like we mentioned, you need clarity about what's what. You need to really be practicing all of the skills, in all of the abilities that you have. You need to be discerning what you take forward, what you let go of, what serves you, what is of the old, what just feels good because it's a habit of the old and is so familiar, but it can't go with you to the new reality, not in that form. So it has never been more important to be able to step out of those old things. And that is why we have mentioned again those kind of issues, the disbelief, the doubt, the things of self-worth, all of these kind of things are of the old, and they truly don't serve you in the new. For in the new, you need to be decisive. For in the new, you need crystal clear clarity. For in the new, you need dynamic speed. The speed which enables you to perceive all of those different things. We talked about different worlds, different parts of yourself, things that are happening around you, things that are happening within the mass consciousness. You need to be awake, present. You need to be able to be in your own honor, in your own dignity. You need to be able to be within that space where you cultivate your self-respect. For this is how you then present yourself on this new stage, where you have many, many more to play with than you have ever had. And it's not only because there are more humans in the world, but because you now can access beings from other galaxies, beings from other planets, non-physical beings, parts of you that never will or were physical, that feel very, very different. And so this clarity then enables you then to operate within this new reality, for then you can tell, this is me, this is not me. For if you had issues with that up to now, while you were only aware of your human family, what happens now? Do you see how much more clearer, how much more present you are asked to be? And yet you are absolutely now able and capable to do this, because you have done the work. And yes, I can hear some of you saying, but I don't think I am mature enough or perhaps practiced enough. You are. You are a grandmaster. Accept it. Feel it. Own it. And let that doubt go, for it doesn't serve you anymore. All of those things of the old don't serve you anymore. There is nothing good or useful anymore about you beating yourself up or looking at yourself as small or incapable or unable to do certain things, these things. For the more you earn them, the more they are real in your life. And that's very simple truth of being a creator. For sometimes it would be much easier if you could put that burden of being a creator onto someone else, would it not? Because you've always been taught that other people are more capable, but no. You are that creator. And as we've said many times before, that yes, you are a creator, but now it's time to own it in a different way. Don't waste your time, dear friends, anymore on those things of the old, on doubts, on fears. When you find yourself in those spaces, just let them go. See for what they are, see how small they are, and just float them out. Let them move. Put them aside and enjoy this transition. Enjoy all these new things that are available to you. Enjoy what is presenting itself in front of you. I'm going to have a bit of a tea. Got chai tea. So tasty. Love the flavors. Love all the scents and the smells that it brings. Have you noticed, dear friends, how much more sensual you've become? Have you noticed, dear friends, even how much more erotic you've become? For sexual energy is very much part of your divinity, is very much part of this presence of your soul self. And so what you used to feel that it only belongs, and we're talking here about feelings, what you used to feel that only belongs within that particular relationship, one-on-one with your partner, you realize that you can actually, many of those feelings are part of your new life also. For as an angel, as you know, you are a very sensual being. And so as you allow yourself to really be present, to be awake, feel just what a turn on that is. Feel just how exciting it feels to be this alive, to be this present, to be this excited about life. And allow yourself to feel those kind of things. Your excitement. Allow yourself to feel the vibrancy of colors, of scents, of smells. Allow yourself to step into those spaces where you allow yourself to feel those things that you have denied yourself because you thought that they were not appropriate to feel, because you thought that for whatever reason, maybe because you were taught that they would corrupt you, that they would make you go crazy or wild, or that you will become uncontrollable. That was that big thing, was it not? Because other people couldn't control you anymore when you allow yourself to feel so many things, to explore your inner worlds with such incredible freedom, where you don't have to stop yourself in front of any inner doors, where your inner world becomes taboo-less, meaning that you can think what you want to think. You can feel what you want to feel. You can emote what you want to emote. You can allow yourself to really experience the depths of your sensuality in a way that you've never allowed yourself before. For even for those that have had the, because I know there are many of you very adventurous in this way, and yet this is again something new. These spaces that you are now able to touch within yourself, they do bring a lot of this kind of feelings that for some may be very confronting. For you didn't know that you were this sensual, you didn't know perhaps that you were this erotic in a way that is not even having to involve another person, another human being, because it has to do with all those different parts of yourself. And that communication with your soul involves that sensuality also. It is so incredibly pleasurable to feel. So, dear friends, be prepared for the new levels of pleasure, for the new levels of feelings that go with that. And don't feel that you need to direct them at anybody, or perhaps you will have someone that you will meet, someone somewhere, perhaps even online or whatever, that will invoke those kind of feelings, and yet own them, realize that they're just invoking. Their job is to invoke. You don't need to project it on that person. And soon enough, you realize that you don't even need that person to invoke continually those kind of things, that those things are yours. They arise within you, and you own them, and you feel them, and you enjoy them. And then comes a time that, yes, perhaps you even share them with another human being. But it may be quite confronting for some of you, because still there can be those kind of, old religious connotations to those things. And yet that feminine has woken up, is fully present, wants to be fully present, and that brings a lot of eroticism. And it is not that we want you to now again feel this masculine or feminine a lot. We mention it because it's very, because there's certain words that we have to use, and yet feel the dance, the new levels of the dance between these parts of yourself. Yes, you are one. And also, yes, you are many. And those many, now that the wars are no longer raging inside of you, those many now can explore this incredible joy, can explore incredible love-filled life and the realities. For like what we started with really finally letting that suffering and all of those things go, and owning your mastership. For nobody else can do that for you. Nobody else can let those still so-called negative things go, and to embrace fully this new reality without suffering, in joy. And for some minds are even saying, how boring must these realities be? And I invite you, Michael, invite you to find out just how rich and deep and colorful these realities really are, and how much fun it is to play within these new spaces. You no longer know what boredom is. Own that. Own yourself as that. You no longer even know or remember what suffering felt like, what those hellish places felt like, what it was like to be Believe that you are a separate person. Own that. Feel it. Be it. Let it be your new reality. And everything else that does not support that does not fertilize that does not cultivate that, everything else, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. All right, we've got another bit of a sip of this wonderful tea. And so here we are. There are only a few more weeks until what you call the heavens cross. And so be prepared, more things to come up. Be prepared that you will test yourself. Are you really truly using your skills? Are you really truly choosing to be on this side of the transformation? Are you choosing love? Whenever in doubt, just feel love and just notice how quickly it all changes. Notice how you change your demeanor, how you all of a sudden see things in a different way. This is very, very quick now. It is sometimes so quick that you perhaps don't even notice it. And so it is also easy to slip back into the old. So notice and cherish clarity, practice clarity, practice being discerning, practice letting those things really go and no longer serve you. Because and embrace all the new things. So when in doubt, because you're experiencing something that perhaps you haven't before, and don't sort of go straight, I'm just imagining things, or maybe this is not real, or perhaps I'm just I don't know, there's something wrong with my ears, because maybe I should go to a doctor because I'm hearing things. Maybe I should go to a doctor because I'm seeing things that shouldn't be there, and things like that. Be prepared for all of these kind of things to be more and more common. And just put them aside. If you don't understand them, they won't hurt you. Just put them aside. But know that, as you are aware of this bigger world, not everything in that world is pretty. There was, a reason why that you've chosen this earth and the physical reality, and the relative slowness of how things happen, because you really wanted to practice. You really wanted to become good at and earn these abilities that we talked about again today. The ability to step from one space to the other, the ability to not be drawn into suffering if other people are suffering, or whatever other people are doing, to really be in your own space, to really live and own your own truth, and what you're choosing your own potentials. For dear friends, in all these other realms, not everything is rosy, so all of these abilities and skills that you so beautifully practice here on earth are now really going to come in handy. So do it, practice it, play with this, and enjoy. Most of all, enjoy this incredible time. For you have friends, you have others that are aware. You have, if you feel like it's your cave time, enjoy that. Own your own truth, own your own needs, own whatever it is that you need and want, and your own guidance. So for some, that is at the moment to be in your own space. For others, they're already working on a project. For some, it is they're going deeply into themselves to really get rid of all that muck, to transform that. For some, they've done all that work and they're just now really enjoying that it is no better, it is no worse. It is what it is. So own whatever it is that your heart, that your inner voice is saying to you. And another thing that we haven't mentioned yet, it is the new levels of vulnerability between you, the human, and your soul self. So it kind of feels like more walls have moved away, and it sort of feels almost like you feel like exposed in some ways, and yet that feeling, it is real, because the walls between you and you are melting away. That veil is thinning even more than before. But it's easy to think that your walls, how can I say, that you are not safe. You see, because you're still living amidst the mass consciousness, you are safe. This vulnerability, really, it is just between you and your soul self. And yes, also, if you want to apply that between you and friends, those that you trust. And yet, notice when you go out among, society, that how safe you are. It is not across the board, that vulnerability, or not, you're not exposing yourself in an unsafe way to the reality where there is suffering, unless you are keep allowing yourself to be pulled into that reality. For remember, dear friends, you are the creator of your reality, and what you say goes, meaning what you say it's true, it is in your reality. So that is why it is very important to not be dragged into that suffering or that unsafety, because then you will attract just that and create, or perhaps, project onto others. So, dear friends, be clear, be uncompromising, continue to choose your joy, continue to choose love, continue to choose exuberance and life and fun and play and vitality and wisdom. Continue to play in these kind of concepts, and so that they invoke these feelings within you, so that they create realities, that you create realities out of those kind of things, out of these kind of concepts, rather than suffering. And watch the magic that happens, and watch how this world for you transforms, changes into something that you had no idea that even existed. So when you started this life, even though it was a big plan in the background, but when you started this life, regardless of what age you are as a human, you had no idea what is now possible. You had no idea then. You couldn't even dream of it then, as to what is now possible, what you can now experience, what worlds, what life is just in front of you. It is already within your realm of perception, and you can feel it. I know each one of you are already touching and kind of living bits and slivers of it. And it's going to be more and more but not all in an instant, just so not to overwhelm you. But dear friends, huge things are in store for you. Wonderful things, magical things, exciting things. And I, Michael, am really looking forward to playing with you, with each one of you in that space. For your non-physical friends, us, are going to be much more tangible in this new space. And for those that are not yet conscious of us and can't consciously hear us, just wait. Once you start hearing us, we don't go quiet anymore. And so for us too, it is a huge event, this whole thing, because you will be able to perceive us as we are, tangible within your world. For you make us tangible because you yourself are physical. And it is our joy to play with you, and it is our honor to work with you in this way. And it is our honor to experience this incredible set of events that you have embarked on, that you have courage, that you are creating, that you are mastering. And so it is, dear friends. Until next time, in joy and in love and in excitement, from us to you. Until next time. Namaste.